Good morning, everyone. I think it's morning at 10:30. To celebrate my super fast Google Fiber install today, super fast upload speed, I thought I would show you all how I make my Cat 6 and 9 tails whips. Sorry, Kitty's running off with my stuff again. Because it'll upload in like 5 minutes probably. We'll see. But what I want to do is make a whip for my boss, my manager. I've got a bunch of colors already, but I need to make a handle and I need another color. So what I usually do, and this is kind of funny, I could like do the conversion and show you guys all whatever it is in inches or meters or whatever. I just kind of cheat since I'm in my office. It's about 4 feet. Right. So then usually what I do is once I've measured one, I just like string all the others out and cut them to that length. Except for the handle one. The handle one I do a little differently. What I do for the handle is throw me a little loop on it, and then just like more than double it, so it's a little more than 8 feet basically. And then a little trick here that I'm going to show you. So usually, since I'm working with so many of the same color, I like to keep track of the handle strand, because the handle strand I like to make a crossover, whereas the other ones are either A to B, 568A, 568B, whichever. Try to keep those, whatever. But the handle, I try to make a crossover every time. So to keep track of the handle strand, I'll just like strip off a little bit at the end of it. And that's why in some videos you'll see exposed cable there for some of my whips. Okay, so now I've got all my strands cut. It takes 5 strands. It's nine bits on the tip, but there's actually 10 connections. Five cables. What I always do is I like to keep the handle strand on the right. Keep track of everything. And then I kind of comb everything out here with my hands a little bit. I throw it on my doorknob. And work that shit. Right? Make the handle strand blue. Yeah. Sure. So hard to keep them where they want to go, or where they need to be, because they just want to jump all over the place. Little jerks. So this is usually the hardest part, getting all this shit lined up, and then getting the excess of the handle strand out there. What I do is I just cross it over, and then just start binding it. And at that point, there's such a loop behind it that the handle strand can't come down. It takes quite a bit of pressure holding onto these strands, and then I try to keep them straight. That's not something I did originally. I realized I were kind of screwing up the whole time, so I try to keep them taut so they'll stay nice on the end. And I just wrap the shit out of this thing. Trying to keep all the wires straight and flat. Makes for a nice looking handle. Somebody asked me what the significance of 18 was on the whips. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I love 18, but no idea. Apparently, I had been wrapping the handle 18 wraps, and somebody noticed it. I had no idea. It was just something I'd been doing. Because I use my hand as a measure where I start that back over wrap. Okay, and then this point, I've fucked with this a lot because it's, you'll notice my first whips look a little different, but I take it through around over itself, basically, back around that same side, and then under. It's my latest. Because it binds it in place, and it doesn't look too crappy. You see, I've got quite a bit of tail here that I need to get rid of because that's way too long. I like them longer now. The first ones I wasn't making that long, but I like them longer now. And then I got a fucking whip, right? I'm gonna twist these fuckers around. Try to get them stacked onto where they go, basically, so they'll lie properly. And then, right, it's ready to go. At this stage, usually I need to trim it. You notice they're all different lengths, right? So with the multicolor ones, I got to keep track of which one's the handle strand, and then that's how I marked it by stripping off some of the ends. But I'm probably going to cut some of that to get all this shit the same length, right? Because I don't want a whip that's all different lengths. So what I'm going to do is, like, whatever colors, I would put like my special color handle boot on. And these are pretty tight, they stay in place, and I really don't have to worry about it, but some of them slip around, depending on the cable, depending on the boot. So I'll tuck it in there to hold on to it for a while. And then I only do the handle boot because if I put a bunch of boots on there, it starts pulling on the cables in different directions and I don't get a consistent cut. So what I do is I sit down and I clamp this thing like between my legs so I can pull on it. I'm going to use my cable cutter. I see the green strand is my shortest, so I'm going to cut all these to that green strand's length, or some approximation of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but definitely not as wild as it was. I use this mat for soldering, but it sucks to get bits of wire back off of it. But it's nice because solder just sits on it and just drop up into a little bead instead of going into my finish on the table. Alrighty. So now we get to the termination part, which is the fun part, usually for most people. I know I'm talking a million miles an hour, but it's not the coffee. I'm drinking decaf, so. Actually, well, I guess we'll have to mention that it's not drugs either. I'm kind of still in a manic episode, I think, so I'm still kind of really fast. I apologize if I'm talking really fast. Plus, I think maybe I am a little nervous being on video, I guess, here with all of you talking to you and shit. Whatever. So now I gotta get my boots on because I don't want to terminate my shit and forget my boots. It always sucks, so I'm gonna cut it and everything's short. These I'm going to do the color for color. But I like the Punky Brewster kind of shit where you mix up the colors, you know. You'll notice that most of my designs have like mixed up boots. I don't put the boots usually for the color that they go to on there. But I've made so many things, so many different whips for so many different people, and I've done like a lot of special burrs lately, like gold tips, and I've had a lot of requests for special colors that I've never done before, so I had to go searching for those. So it'd be really great if one of these cable manufacturers would sponsor me or some shit, and I could like get consistent stuff. But whatever. Okay, so now I got all my boots on. I'm gonna start terminating this thing, right? I used to use the one piece for years and years and years. These are my shit, and I'll terminate them for you. I'll terminate one here by the end of the video, I'll show you. But because I started looking for colors, I found these from Monoprice. They've got a bunch of different colors, but they're two-piece. Okay, so they've got this little insert, which is kind of cool. I was kind of iffy about these things in the beginning, right? But I like the inserts now. And they kind of remind me of the pull-through designs, or the pass-through connectors. 5, 6, 7, 10. Which I do not like. I don't know how the hell you guys work with those pass-through connectors. I might pull one of those up in the video too, or maybe we'll do a different video on the different connectors. How's that? They suck. I struggle with those things, really. But these two-piece designs are actually kind of nice. I got used to them, and I use them for a fuckload of things, more than just the colors and the fact that it's easier on me, right? So I'm kind of stick with these two-piecers, I think. Or say maybe more colors too. I usually strip back about an inch, which is about the tip of your finger, whatever. That's just my old way. You can strip whatever the hell you want, whatever you're comfortable with. If you can do shorter than that, more power to you. But 1 inch seemed to be consistent for me for doing the one-piece connections, which is this dude here in the past. But what I do is once I get the outer insulation torn off, I pull them down in an order that helps me keep track of them and put them in their place. So blue and brown, I just remember blue and brown, pull it down, right? That's easy as fuck for me to remember. Pull it down, and then that leaves you the green and the orange to fuck with. So you pull those down into their like pairs off to the side, and then I'll take a stripper. And this spline, I used to hate this shit. I used to love terminating Cat 5 cable because it didn't have a spline in it. And when they started putting splines in it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I couldn't jam that spline into that one-piece connector, right? So then I started realizing I gotta get that spline out of the way for 2 reasons. 1, it doesn't like to go into the connector, and 2, I need to be able to lay my wires down in order. So I grab a hold of this spline, and I pull that thing up. You see, I'm not forgiving on that spline, right? Don't go too crazy, because sometimes you'll pull it through, or you'll stretch it out too much, or it'll just snap off, and you don't want to hit yourself in the face with your pliers, right? But now that spline's out of my way. And this one I'm going to wire orange. Since it's yellow, I'm going to do it B. So I'm going to splay everything out in its kind of colors there. Orange, green, blue, brown, getting it prepared. And because I'm an upside down person, orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, green, white, green, blue, white, blue, brown, white, brown, I always start with the orange over on the left-hand side like this. So it's easier for me. So I'll splay it out and twist them. And this is a trick untwisting them is kind of the magic here is, right? Because I want this thing to lay down flat like that, right? And I want to start laying them all down flat like that. So what I'll do is I'll take my orange and orange, white, orange, and I'll keep it just like that. And then I'll just pull. As I untwist, I pull up and out, because that helps me pull the twist out of the wire, right? You see how I've straightened that out? Watch how when I untwist the blue, how it all wants to twist up into that twisty knot. You can't let it do that, right? You gotta pull that thing out and like force them against one another, essentially, to make them, you know, reverse their twists. So eventually they'll flatten out. You want them flat. You gotta pinch them hard with your fingers. It's taken me years to be able to do these connectors and shit. These are fucking easier. I still pinch these things down like I'm getting ready to do a single piece connector. You don't have to do that as much now because they're two piecers. So almost like the pass-throughs, you can, you know, get them all out and you don't have to pull on them hard just like I do or whatever. You can get them all laid out pretty, push the connector over them in order, and then you slice them to length. But because I'm old school and I learned how to do on one piece, or taught myself how to do one piece, I still do it this way. And I still pull on these things pretty hard. But orange, white, orange, green, white, right? And I untwist these things until I see that it's level with the jacket, the untwisted part. Orange, white, orange, green, white. This part can be tricky here because I got to get this green wire out of the way. It looks to me like it wants to go under this time, so I'm going to lay the blue wires over top of it. Sometimes it wants to be on top. I try to work with that. Wherever that twist lays it out, if it wants to be on top of the green, or the green wants to be on top, I'll lay it there. Try not to fight that shit, right? Especially if you're doing one-piece connectors, because you're just, you know, screwing yourself. So, orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, right? I pull green up in there, and you can see what I'm doing here is I'm like twisting these things up and down, forcing them to get into order, right? Because I'm used to that single piece connector where I had to keep them, and then you had to like get it in the jacket like that. There's just that 1 second where you let go of the pressure and you're hoping they all stay like that when you shove it into that connector. You don't have to worry about that with these two piecers. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green. I'll untwist my brown. And I can feel it under my fingers if it's not twisted enough or it's twisting up too much. Usually. And once I get them all laid out, I'll just like work them back and forth. All right. They're all laid out perfectly. Green, white, blue, blue, white, green, yep. And before I shove them into this two-piece connector, I like to cut them all off flush. It makes it a lot easier to get them in there. And because I work upside down with the little tab down, you know, from left to right with the orange white, I use a little ramp on these two piecers. It's got a little flange or a little ramp on one side. I put that up. You have to. And then I just kind of wiggle the connectors and it shoves right on there. Fucking beautiful, right? So very much like your pass-through connectors, it's very forgiving. And like the pass-through, we got to trim it. But before I even think about doing that, I want to make sure that my wires are in the right place. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. Perfect. Then I take my cutter and I snip this thing right off at the tip. And it makes for a beautiful little connection. I'm twisting it to show you here. I've let pressure off of it, so they've kind of moved on me. So I'm going to trim that again, shove it down and trim it again. Because you want them all straight and you want them all sticking all the way through. And then at that point, I take my two-piece connection. Shit, I shoved that on there backwards, guys. Totally put it on there upside down. I was telling you about the ramp and put it on upside down. Totally screwed myself on there, guys. But we'll see if I can recover. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. Fixed it. And I need to trim it. I'm gonna jam that sucker in there. Tab down, ramp up, tab down for me. And I just shove it all the way in there, keeping pressure on it. And I always do it double crimp. It's just my thing. I want to make sure that thing's gonna stay. Originally, I used to do that to grab hold of the jacket, but it, you know, really the wires, the pins punching through are what actually make the connection. All right, so I'm not going to talk about these, I'm just going to do them. And then we might speed this part of the video up, we'll see. 21 minutes. Blue, brown, pull down. This one went on top. Green's on top this time. Orange, green, blue, blue, green, brown, brown. Ramp up. As I started verifying that shit, I make much less mistakes on my wiring now. Learned that with the single pieces. Plus with these whips, if you screw one up, you gotta pretty much shorten them all. Which then you have a short whip, which I don't like doing. In green, we're gonna do T568A, so we're gonna start with green. Sometimes I still say it the other way, but I'm seeing it, you'll see. Blue, brown, pull down, let that spline. And the splines can be different from wire to wire, unless it's the same cable manufacturer. And even then, sometimes it's different. So this time I'm putting my green out, green, orange, blue, brown, right? It's just a matter of which way you're wiring it, the green or the orange you set outside. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue. So the orange is going to be on top. And sometimes I cheat. I'll pull two wires over and just force feed them next to each other like that. Blue, white, orange. I often do that with the blues and the browns. Be underneath. Okay, you're going underneath. Sometimes it'll fight you, the crossover wire will fight you, so just find out where it's at. So these two I'll pull over by themselves or together. Blue, white, orange. Man, orange is still fighting me. Orange is just being a jerk today. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. So I need to do that initial trim, and then the connector goes on rainbow. Blue, blue, blue. This little cable stripper I've had forever. Same thing with this crimper. I've had them for, I'm going to say 20 years, but I guess probably 2005 is when I got them. 2004 maybe. Not quite 20 years. Long fucking time. I mean, the fact that it's still running on that same blade. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, damn, that thing is still cutting freaking jackets. After almost 2 decades. Green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. Common things I find here is like the orange and the blue, white will try to flip over, or the 2 brown pair on the end will try to flip themselves over. Really common. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. Things I see myself doing commonly. Not so much with these as the older ones. Let's do green and purple. So we'll do A on the purple. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. I've got like 6 more, I think, of these that I gotta terminate, so, man. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. Well, I've kind of gotten fast at it as I've done so many of these. But, you know, I did a lot of the singles before I started making these whips, but Man, I've done so many fucking connections with these whips that I've honed my skill with making these things. I lost track of how many whips I made. The store says I've sold so many. I don't know what the count is actually now. But I made a fuckload more than that, I can assure you. Shit. Don't even know how many of these motherfucking things I've made. Yeah, we're doing A, right? Green, orange, blue, brown. So motherfucking many. But I like making them. This is like peaceful for me. And I usually, for the record here, I usually have fucking music playing. And you guys know the music I play. It's just what I was playing is what's playing at the time, right? Whatever I drop, whatever I tweet, whatever I skeet, whatever I what do they call it? Toot. I'm gonna call it toot still. Whatever, right? That's what I'm listening to at the time. So I've always got fucking music playing, but because of YouTube, like, does this shit wherever I have my music playing in the motherfucking background, I get some copyright from DMCA or DMCA, Digital Millennium. Yeah, DMCA. Fuck you, DMCA, bitches. Sorry, I said the B word. I know I'm working on that. Apologies. I'm trying not to say the B word. But anyway, I think it's uncool that they do that with my videos. I'm not trying to profit off of no shit. I'm not trying to make their video look good or bad. It's just playing in the fucking background. A lot of times I don't even know it while I'm talking on the video or doing whatever it is I'm doing on the video. It's just music playing. Anyway, back to this shit. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue. Blue, white, orange. Blue, white, brown. And the common mistakes I find on these is that they just didn't get twisted enough, untwisted enough. They're not. You didn't lay them out straight enough to get them lined up. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. So that that prep work, getting them untwisted and getting them laid out properly pays off. And we're showing connectors together. Of course, all things I learned through trial and error throughout the years of making cables. And for me, it started back like when I started getting into IT and I started seeing all the shitty cables that everybody else was making. That it's like all the wires hanging out at the end of the connector. The connector wasn't even grabbing hold of the jacket. Stupid shit like that. It was just like, what? And they were just in use, and it was just like these floppy, crappy connectors that everybody was making. And I'd like vowed to not have crappy connectors. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. So, and I've worked in a lot of places where they're like, we will not make connectors, no made cables. We buy all our cables for a reason. And that reason is because everybody made shitty cables, so they didn't give a shit. They didn't grab hold of the jacket, so they, whatever. So many reasons. But. So there was a lot of jobs I had where I was like, dude, I can make a cable. No, we gotta wait for something to come in. Okay. Shit, I'm going into my yellow right now. Good. So red we're gonna do B, we'll do orange. And that's how I kind of keep track in my head, like those kind of color schemes, which format I'd like to use, either A or B. This clear line is usually really stretchy, right? It's like, damn. That's how it is. Orange, green, blue, brown. I feel like I'm talking and going a million miles an hour. Like really hyped up here. I apologize for that. I'm actually going to talk to my doctor. I thought it was today, Wednesday, but it's actually tomorrow is when I plan it, about lithium, mood stabilizer, to try to get where I don't get these manic episodes like this. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. "35 minutes. I'm not sure what my record is. I thought it was usually about 45 minutes. It usually takes me to make these things. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. I usually have music playing in the background. I think I said that. Man, I would love to enter into a fucking crimping contest, man. I know I would do good in that shit. I say that as I struggle to tear the fucking insulation off of this one here. Pay no attention to the woman behind the curtain. Sorry for saying the B word again. I really, truly am working on that one. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green. Brown, white, brown. It seems like redundant work to have to trim it twice, but that's just my process and it works for me, so if you find a better way, feel free to post a video. I'd love to see it. Okay, so the top one I'm going to do, let's do so we're going to do that green. So this thing does struggle to cut the cables on some of the narrower gauges. I've been thinking about replacing that thing actually. Dang, it's so old. It's like giving up a friend though. It's been in my freaking telecom bucket for so goddamn long. And I'm just looking at the A on this one. Orange. White. See my orange and my blue flipped on me. So God, you should have put me under. That's it. Sometimes just get it wrong. But again, with these two piecers, it's pretty forgiving. Green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, green, white, brown. I'm just always in this mindset of I'm doing a single piece connector, so yeah, that's just how I do it. I should check that before I cut it. I feel like I'm getting a little racy again, sorry. Thought I was kind of over it. I've been eating and sleeping So that's good. So once I get all my ends on, I kind of twist it out, like I said, stack them on to where it lays out and then looks nice. And I try to do that down to the end. And at that point, I need to test it. Alright, so I know that those are actually going to take a beating. They're going to deliver a beating. And I haven't even put an electronic tester on it yet. But that's my process every single time. That's quality control right there, folks. Right? That's a level of dedication you won't find in other manufacturers. Yeah, I kind of like the long tail still, so I like it to be a little longer than my hands now. That's kind of my gauge. Some of them I made them too short in the beginning and stuff. There's a few of them out there that are a little too long. You can see how my evolution of this shit. It's been so fucking fun making these for you guys. Really. And I gotta thank all my sponsors for coughing up cash for these kinds of things, making this kind of shit possible, keeping me alive, keeping me fed, keeping me from criming, as someone else said. I fucking love that, by the way. I use that all the time. You guys have been good at that, keeping me on the right side of the law. Man, I've had some offers for some shit. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What are we doing there? So I need to check that. I try to keep track of that one line. It's really racy right now. Making me nervous. But can I tell you my secret here? How I'm calming myself down. I'm like on this whole video. I'm just pretending like I'm on a video conference with Blinster, who already knows all this shit, kind of like. To where it's just like, this is like refresher course for him, or just like tips, tricks, whatever. It's like orange, green, white, blue. Oh my gosh, Gary cat's outside. The giant cat's outside. Sounds like Gary. Meow. Orange, white, green, white, blue, white, green. I lost track of what I was saying before Gary started down, guys. I'm sorry. That's another thing about what happens when I get kind of racy, is that I would get confused and lose track of shit. I really hope the noise canceling on this video. This is my new phone. I'm doing this shit on the Google Pixel 7 here, so let's see how this fucking does with the window open. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. Did I miscount? I must have thought that was one of the connectors, that single piece here. Yeah. Anyway. At this point, I like to test it. I like to test it usually with a pile of wire that I left. Just send a video or post a video. But you guys have all seen this shit in this by now. Get that fucking shit out of the way. I love this tester, by the way. This Coleen Scout Pro 3. None of these motherfuckers are sponsoring me, by the way. It'd be nice if somebody cough up some cash besides my followers. But anyway, this has been a great little tester. Replacing, there's an Ideal that I had from Lowe's. This is also from Lowe's. Or no, this one's from Amazon. I think I got this from Amazon. Yeah. The other one I got from Lowe's. Yeah, it's as old as this. I got it when I got this shit. The remote went bad on me. And it wasn't worth it. I was like, why should I fix this? I should upgrade. So I didn't fix it. that great. And I love this meter. It'd be really nice to have a giant, one of those giant fruit meters, but can't afford that shit. Man, what the fuck is going on, bro? I guess I don't have to pay attention to this shit for a minute. Key fobs does not concern me. You guys are gonna catch any mistakes? Please catch my mistakes and post them in the comments. Don't be kind. Right, I can take it. I'm starting to learn how to take online abuse now. It's over, and that is one finished whip for my manager. In 46 minutes, about my average time. Shit, which is funny because I feel like I'm going a million miles an hour right now. But anyway, that's how we make the whips. That's how we quality control the whips. Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining me. Subscribe wherever the link is. I have no idea. This is my first real YouTube video like this, besides whatever the shit I've posted before. So thank you. Have a great day.